All right, folks, here we go with another 2021 TAC Open tournament match, this time between NohatCoder and Abyss. That is right, NohatCoder ranked #1 on playtak for several years now, and Abyss ranked #3 on playtak. Also, let's take a look at the current tournament standings. Fwib has secured the #1 spot. He is in there mathematically, no one can catch up to him. Abyss in second place right now, and if he wins both of these games, he guarantees second place. But NohatCoder here is also in the running for that top 4, and again, the top 4 do qualify for the TAC Championship that comes next year. And we are waiting for them to set up their Seek and jump into this game. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The level of play is going to be through the roof here, and I expect that we are going to get some really, really fun games. And joining me in the commentary box here is Allion02, the creator of some of the hardest puzzles in this entire community. And so, thanks for joining me here, Allion02.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And so we will be covering in just a few minutes this absolutely epic matchup between NohatCoder and Abyss. So I am really looking forward to that. As soon as NohatCoder arrives, we will begin. All right, it looks like Nohat has arrived. The Seek is up. Abyss gets white in this first game. NohatCoder gets black, and we are ready to jump right in to this 2021 TAC Open tournament match. This is a pretty big one since it does determine which of these get into that top 4 slot to qualify for the championship. All right, we get opposite corner opening. This is different. NohatCoder going with the opposite corners here. Not something we see too often. And then Abyss going straight into an edge crawl. All right, they're just throwing all convention out the window here. What is going on? Now we see NohatCoder place over here, and this is working on center control, but also setting up to be able to cut off White's edge crawl with some flat placements. And all right, Black now going for more center control and also going for that vertical threat. White can continue that vertical threat that he's been building here by playing at F3 or by playing at E3 and staying along the line of Black here.
This looks like it transposed into a opposite corner knight opening.
A little bit. It's interesting. It's kind of like that, but it's definitely its own beast here. Black now trying to just work for that threat, but White does have momentum here and can continue to play either at E5, F3, or even E2 and just continue to build for that vertical threat and force Black to make the first sort of capturing move or force defensive move of this game. So if I'm White here, I'm going to want to continue and push that momentum, but at the same time, Abyss is known for playing really, really well and thinking about this position. And I think that he may be thinking about a longer game because he knows he's not going to be able to beat Nohat right at the beginning with anything clever here. He knows it's going to end up being something that gets shut down, and then he wants to make sure that he's on the better end of it afterwards. If I'm playing against a beginner player, maybe I'll go for something like this, but against Nohat, against Abyss, these guys won't fall for anything that simple. All right, and he does decide to play over here at F3, make that connection, and so he is going for that vertical threat. Let's see if Black decides, yep, Black drops a wall here. Still no capstone for either player, but Black drops that wall ready to come over and interrupt everything that White has building. And I think that if Black is going to do any capturing, I don't think it's going to be up onto E3. It's probably going to be over here onto F2. And then Pluto in the
Isn't it?
chat saying he really likes the capstone at C3, but I think he was saying that for black maybe instead of white. But I think for either player, capstone at C3 isn't too bad. Abyss might go for something like that. And we will note also the time here. So Abyss is down to 13 and a half minutes. Nohat still well above the 15 minutes starting time. And Abyss does tend to take a ton of time earlier on in the game. And then he will play probably 30 moves, all basically with 10 seconds on the clock. And that's something that he does quite often. So we did see him play up at E5, and then black comes over with the wall to cut that off. And now the momentum is... I think it's shifted. Let's see.
White no, it's still in white's favor.
Yeah, momentum is still for white right now.
And Capstone on E2 looking to rescue the captive and also build the road.
Yeah, or just continue placing a flat at E1 for the extra connection there. I think any of those options are fine. If black moves that wall up onto F3, then we're just going to see a placement of a flat at E1.
Yeah, this is the disadvantage of placing a wall first. The opponent can counter you with a capstone.
Yeah. A capstone might have been good there at E2. Oh, goodness. Another wall from black. So it is important to note that black does have a 2 Comey in this tournament. So he gets +2 added to his flat count score at the end of the game if it does go to flats instead of a road. And so black is definitely counting on that to do that. So here we go.
Maybe black doesn't want to play the capstone at all.
Maybe not. All right, and we see that threat get cut off right away. How will white respond to this? Will they fill in at F4? Will they capture up with their capstone? There's a lot of ways this could go.
Notably, this is still momentum in white's favor. Wow. Going for a third wall.
That is absolutely nuts. 3 walls drop in here. He really doesn't want this vertical threat to stick. That's for sure. As white here, I think at this point you got to start playing off for maybe a horizontal threat. Maybe just play down at D1, maybe play across at like C3 or something, and just start shifting gears. You've already got black to drop 3 walls. Just start dropping those flats everywhere. So they are currently... So white currently has 1 more flat than black, but at the end of black's turn, it's even on terms of a flat count. I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So +2 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're even in terms of flat count right now. And neither one of them have any positive flat count differential moves. It's still very far away from any sort of flat game, but it is important to think about at all stages of the game. That is something that I am very aware of and have been very aware of for quite some time. Especially because of Abyss and Nohat in particular telling me that they play with flats in mind from the very first move of the game. These 2 players are big proponents of keeping track of those flats and making sure that they aren't giving away anything in the early game that can be used against them. And here we go. We see black just continuing, forcing some sort of defensive move, and we do see that capstone move away. I'm not sure if he wanted to do that just yet. Maybe playing at D1 first, just dropping his own flat there would have been helpful. And I think that might have been the better play, to just get another flat down instead of capturing right away, but this works also. And white does have momentum in terms of a horizontal road as well, and continue to play maybe out at B2, for example, and keep going in that horizontal direction.
Black finally drops a capstone.
And I like the placement for the capstone, because it's able to come down onto C2 and ruin that threat. And if White's capstone moves or something like that, black can bring that capstone over onto d3 and maybe jump across over onto e3 and f3 or something like that. Make some good positive FCD moves, something like that.
Agreed. Abyss now probably going to think for a while.
Oh yeah,
Some sort of
absolutely. That tends to be his MO. Oh, he's going for the B2 placement. So we do see the time limit here. Nohat is above 16 minutes on the clock, and again, that's because they start with 15 minutes and they get a 15-second increment. And White is down below 12 minutes on the clock. Morton in the chat saying this looks like a disaster for Black because of 3 walls and White still has more road potential. And yes, it does not look good for Black. At this point, I would definitely say that White has a big advantage in this game. Abyss is doing a really good job. And I think that opening of him going for that edge crawl just really messed with Nohat, and he didn't know how to respond to that. White continue to play out for this horizontal road threat. Okay, and if White plays at b3, I think we'll see Black's capstone come down to make a vertical road threat. Or we'll see a2 come across for that vertical road threat. I think a2 coming across is probably more likely, but I do like b3 here for White, as it does make a threat and force Black to make some sort of capture. But what will he do here? Yeah, I can't see any other move that I like more than b3. It's not to say there isn't a better one. It's just I can't see any move that I like better. And if b3 is played by White, and then a2 comes right onto b2, then I see b3 minus happening. Not immediately refreshing the tack threat, but it is stopping Black's threat and not working really against his own. We'll see a wall from Black at a2 after the a2 right and then this b3 minus. That's my guess, at least. It seems the most likely course of events, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the capstone coming down to c2 doesn't strike me as particularly useful.
No, but a2 coming right does work, and it is a tag threat, and now we're going to see most likely b3 minus. I don't think we'll see any captures coming up along this line here on the D file. I don't see any happening. e3 left won't really do anything. It'll just mess up his own horizontal threat because Black can renew with just a c4. And these would mess up White's vertical line, which isn't super great right now anyway, so that might be possible. We might see something like e5 left. That would be pretty painful to Black's threat. Okay, so we did see the b3 minus, as expected, and then the wall, as expected. And from this point, White does not want Black to get this with the wall. But please note, Black now has 4 walls on the board. White wants to keep this Black flat out of the hands of that wall, though. And so we may see a partial spread down, or up, something like that.
Mm.
But this is a move I expect we're going to see Abyss take quite a bit of time on, as he is known to do. He takes quite a bit of time on a lot of moves here, especially early on in the game. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what move he does make. Because I can see a lot of options. I can see 2b2 plus, 2b2 minus. I could see throwing it up, 3b2 plus 1, 2. And again, these are PTN or portable tack notation. You can see it right off to the side here. And if you're unsure about what exactly that is, you can check out the PTN or portable tack notation video on Tack University. Okay, hold on. All right, so we did see the 2b2 plus, and then immediately the capstone came over and captured. And I expected that to happen. I was surprised that he went up with it instead of down. Sure, up does create the tack threat, but it gives the capstone the ability to capture and liberate that captive. And I think that may have been a suboptimal move here, but we'll see. The black capstone capturing, not suboptimal. What I was saying is the white spreading up instead of down might have been suboptimal, but we'll see.
I mean, the captive is lost anyway, so...
Morton in the chat saying, can white afford to wall C3? I mean, maybe. That doesn't seem too bad of a move here.
I think white now needs to focus on just getting a favorable flat-end game, honestly. There are way too many walls to make any permanent threats.
It is going to be tough to make any good threats here with how many walls there are, that's for sure. And yeah, focusing on a flat game would be important. And white's far enough ahead in terms of flats. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 for black with the 2 Comey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for white. So white can afford to drop a wall at C3. And I think that may have been a solid move to drop a wall at C3. Morton is also a top player. He knows what he's talking about. And although he's not in the tournament this year, he didn't have the time for it. But now that option is gone. However, white wants to make the threat by placing down at maybe B1 or A1, I think. I think that's the idea.
I think A1 is better because B1 gives black plus 3 FCD and a tack threat.
Agreed.
But I would kind of be scared of this black threat now.
I would probably drop a wall at C4.
I think C5 works better actually. Because C5 when moving over to D5 it will block the threat for one more turn.
Yeah, maybe. I like C4 just because black also has the opportunity to spread up on the B line. And then coming down onto C3 cuts off both of them.
Okay. That's fair enough. Although technically you can just throw from D5 down to D3 then.
Yeah.
And the additional flat on D4 doesn't seem useful.
Oh, he does go for the C5 like you suggested. This is where I think we might see black start to build upwards, like maybe at B4. Oh no, he goes straight for the threat by placing at B1. And then after that wall at C5 comes right, then we'll probably see maybe a B4. It's very similar to the position that I had actually against Nohat when Nohat was black and I was white, and he ended up stomping me. White's in a better position than I was, for sure, because his capstone's in a better spot, and he's got more going on. But black had a similar position here on the left side of the board. And if you haven't seen that match went up, as of recording this, it went up yesterday, and you can check that out on the YouTube channel. And yeah, it was, the game 1 was great, but the game 2 is the one that kind of resembles this. And it was also tack. But yes, so this position I think has a potential to be very strong for black. And so white is doing a good job taking some time here. Noticing he's down to 5 minutes on the clock. That is a thing that Abyss does. Again, he does play very slowly. And I'm not sure about that capstone move. I think that he set up that wall to come right, and that was probably the move to make, because now he no longer has the opportunity to play at A1 to make his own threat. And now we see black just playing at B4 like we expected anyway. Going to be connecting up to that A6 position. White needs to drop probably another wall over here, maybe even at B5 to be able to cut off both of those. Otherwise, things are going to get out of hand. Because black is definitely coming back, and this is a very strong position for black.
I have a feeling most of black's threats are an illusion right now.
You know, I thought the same thing when I played against Nohat, and he was black, and he had this similar position, and it destroyed me. So, I
Okay.
I can see that, but we'll see. You know, I think that he does have a dangerous position, and if white fills in the wrong spots with flats instead of walls, it could prove to be a disaster for him.
Yeah, so certainly it's black who's trying to road here, but that's mostly because like that's basically the only thing black has left going for them, because of the huge flat count disadvantage due to the walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this actually looks pretty dang good for black at the moment. I think before the capstone moved up, it was still looking okay for white. But I think the capstone moving up might not have worked out best for him. And I think also the move back on 17 when he did 2v2 plus, I think that also giving the capstone that spot was a little bit painful as well. And we see Bluto in the chat talking about flat count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 11 for black, 13 for white. So white is still ahead, even with 2 Comey for black. White is still ahead in terms of flat count. But white also needs to stay ahead on flat count while stopping all the potential threats that black has building. And I think a wall here on A4 might be necessary.
He does go for the flat though.
Yeah, we'll see if the flat is able to stop it well enough.
I mean, what does Nohat do here? Play B6? No, he fills here, but that allows the wall on C5 to come down.
Yeah, it is attack threat.
Oh.
He moves, so Abyss moves up with the capstone instead. Oh, I see what he's doing.
Oh.
He's making an excuse to move the capstone up so he can eventually fill in down below, maybe at E2, and make his own attack threat by smashing the E4 wall.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I see that. Using this as sort of cover for his offensive move, he's moving the capstone up so he can smash, because he sees that, yes, I invested a lot of time and a lot of pieces in this vertical threat, and all these walls basically stopped it. I need to do something about that and maybe recover some positioning from all these pieces I set up here. And so at this point, not attack threat from black. Are we going to see white fill in? We do see white fill in at E2. This is now attack threat by smashing that flat there at E1. Or not E1, E4.
it's kind of annoying to stop.
And so the wall comes up. I expected the wall to come up there. And now I wonder what's going to be played.
I'm looking towards like e4 with intention to just chase the wall.
I was thinking about that too, but that can get dangerous. Because, I mean, black can just thrash back and forth longer than white can with the capstone. Because if you look at the amount of flats that white has under the capstone, it is more than what black has under the wall.
That's true. But at some point you can maybe self-capture to like stop
Yeah.
the thrashing.
I
It's
think
not
Abyss might want to do
really.
e4 here, regardless, but it is losing a point of momentum, and then black would be able to make attack threat on the next turn, and yeah, that can be iffy.
Yeah, we will see if the a4 placement is enough to stop.
Okay,
Going
so we
for
see white play down at
a1 now.
a1, and I understand that because that can be building for attack threat as well by doing maybe a b2 minus move.
I wonder which capture is optimal now for black. I'm looking at 2b3 down. Although,
So 2b3 down gets met probably by a4 plus. Okay, so now if a4 plus happens, then a6 minus happens, and that's a threat, and then white will not be able to move their wall over left onto b5 because that would be a road. So I think at this point, wow, this is a tough spot for white to get out of. This is a really good position. Okay, so maybe a3 right is met by c3 left, and then yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is possible for white to get out of this, but it's going to be really tricky. And white is down to below 2 minutes on the clock. Nohat's still above 15 minutes. But this is where Abyss thrives. He does play crazy amounts of turns on the increment. So he does make a b5 minus capture. Okay, so any capture war that occurs. So I think b5. Black is just going to play us at b5. And then white's wall comes down onto c4. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to happen. But I think the b5 minus move was the best move white could have made there. Yeah, and then black fills in, and now this wall comes down to c4.
hopefully it doesn't come left.
Or the capstone comes on to c4 and
Yeah,
goes
that's true.
for the
But
horizontal along the top.
oh, that's an interesting pivot actually.
And it wouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Yep, capstone does come over. It looks like he's shifting gears to that horizontal threat. Let's take a look at the count once more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 12 for black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 for white. So getting a little closer in terms of flat count. And that is 12 for black with the Comey included. It is kind of interesting how black just had this position off to the left, white had this position off to the right, and they sort of just did their own thing for a while. And now we're seeing the combination come in. Now we're seeing white start to shift gears and go across different directions. Black doesn't have too many options in that way. Black's got to focus on this vertical threat here along the left-hand side, whereas white can start building for a horizontal in the middle or on the bottom, or can continue to go for the vertical on the right hand side. Like white has more options for sure.
But black has a lot of walls that he can work with.
Yes.
Although the connections on the right side are very thick.
Yeah,
It's
they
going
are.
to
I
be
think white wants to be playing at d3 on the next move. And black can play at d3 on the next move, and it would be attack threat for black, so might not be bad. Black comes up with the wall ready to capture onto a4 to cut off that anchor point. Smart, and able to come over onto b4 and be able to liberate that captive. That's a smart play. White's got to do something about that soon in order to stop it. Black plays at d4, makes the threat. Now, I think white's capstone might need to come over onto b4 at this point in order to stop the Tinue from happening. Oh no, because white does have the wall on c5. Never mind. So it's not a loss there. So the c5 wall does come over. That stops black from bringing that wall over for a threat. Now black needs to focus on getting some pieces in play around d4. So at d3 and at e4 in order to make their own vertical threat by capturing onto that d4 spot. I don't think that the area around here in like b4 and a4, I don't think he can do anything with that and stay afloat. This looks pretty heavily in white's favor now. It was looking really, really tricky for white for a while. It looked like black was going to take this, but it's looking much better for white. And as expected, we do see that d3 get played, ready to get a connection here on the e4 for the attack threat. White fills in, however, at e4. If any capture does occur on d4, you better believe that capstone's coming right on top of it. And I think there are only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 in that capstone stack. So it will be able to do quite a bit of capturing. Okay, we see c5 get placed here. And that's so this capstone can't move over to the right if, let's say, d4 comes up. White now placing up at c6 to be able to come over onto to d6. Okay, you can see that.
that, or white is just playing for the flat count now.
Maybe. I think white might need to wall at a4. 1, 2,
I don't
3,
think
4,
white
5,
can
6,
afford that.
13 for black with Comey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Unless
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 for white.
unless white is satisfied with a draw.
White has fewer reserves, and so white would finish quicker, but black
Yeah,
would
but
be able to
if
play one flat after that wall and bring it to 14, 13. So yeah, it would be, oh, black saying, or white saying, fine, I'll just make my tack threat. Two-prong tack threat, but black can stop that by moving that down, and
okay.
does so. F6 for another tack threat. I like it. Smashing F5 would be another road threat.
Wow. Nice throws.
I like this. Abyss is playing. He's playing a little fast and loose here.
The wall's just scooting away.
Yep, and now this is a point where Abyss is in a little bit of trouble. Because he has no positive flank on differential moves, and he gave black one by moving that capstone up. Now black is able to toss this wall stack on b4 over, dropping one black, and then dropping the wall stack onto d4. That gives him a +2 flat count differential move, which puts him ahead in terms of flats in a way that white can't deal with. Because white doesn't have any positive flat count differential moves available to him. And it is currently 12-12 in terms of flat count. White to play. White doesn't want to play here at c4, that's for sure. Not with a flat, at least.
Plays on a4. Black is putting on the pressure, the time pressure, specifically. Yep. Seeing that's... Yeah. This could get dangerous.
Yeah, I'd say this looks good for black now. The gears have shifted in black's favor.
Although there are only 6 flats left to place.
Yeah. e5.
Probably setting up
another smash threat? I don't know.
Or maybe just 6 c5 right.
I mean, 6 c5 right isn't even a threat.
Well, it's not a threat, but it anticipates that black is going to make a threat this turn.
I mean, black is going to make a threat by capturing onto a4 with a3.
That's also...
Now it's a tag threat that white stops with the b5 wall moving left.
Probably.
And then the capstone has to move left onto b5. And that's the only option that white has at this point. To move left with the capstone. Tough. Really tough.
He does go for it.
Yeah, it was his only move.
He could have moved a flat over.
Yeah, but it would just have resulted in a recapture.
Right. Well, this is now an issue.
Yes.
Big
yes, it
issue.
is.
What do you do here? d4 up?
No, you do c6 right. Oh, no, wait. No, you do e6 left, I think. Oh, wow.
c2 up.
And then now d3 left from black. I think that's the move here, d3 left.
d3 left does give white the potential to wall on c5 and then justify that wall by capturing c3 and spreading.
Yeah, but I don't know. It might be a little too far out to make too much of a difference. I mean, actually, black does have quite a few reserves left, so this might work out. This is going to be a tough one.
I wonder if Abyss wishes he had more time right about now.
Who knows? So he finishes with... So hold on. c2 plus and then c5. Continues the tag threat. Will we get... Okay, so we get that capture. Another tag threat from black, capturing over onto c6 with b6.
This is looking very bad.
For white, yes. This is where we might see... Okay, so c6 minus. I mean, black has positive flat count differential moves available to him currently. I mean, at least one here now with this this c3 stack moving to the right. So I'd say this looks pretty good for black. 11 flats for black. 12 for white. Yeah, so black's got this on flats because of that +2 move available to him.
Does black have a +2 move right now?
Yeah, this C3 spreading to the right.
It's a different move now. Okay. So black can probably just flat out now.
Yeah.
But he does
And
push for the threat.
yeah, he drops a flat with the threat available. Now it's a threat from white by placing it D3. And black can stop that by just placing it D3. And that might be the move to make here. Or tossing C3 to the right. No. Okay, he makes the wall throw, which also makes another tack threat. And cuts off white's tack threat. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I like the walls on the 4th row, making like 1, 3, 4.
Yeah. 4, 3, 1. Yeah, that's good. All right. White moves up to get away. Now does black toss upwards or capture right first? I think toss upwards. Doesn't want to capture right because then the capstone would be free to move a little bit more. But yeah, this looks bad for Abyss right now. Nohat's been able to pull this together after a really slow start where it looked like white was just going to run away with it. Black able to put together a really strong position. This is good. Yeah, Abyss in white down to 20 seconds, or 19 seconds really on the clock. And NohatCoder in black, about 10 minutes. Slightly different in terms of time on the clock and time spent per move. But like I said, Abyss does spend all of his clock time in the first, 15, 20 moves, and then he's basically on 10 seconds left for the rest of the game. And it's insane that he can play as well as he does with so little time.
Nohat going for the simple placement. I like it.
Yeah, smart. And it runs down his reserves. And oh no, he's down to 4, 3, 2, 1. And he loses on time. Oh, Abyss. Abyss. I mean, he didn't really have much of an option. Didn't have much of a defense here. It was pretty hopeless, but it's always a shame to see it go down to time like that. But really, really well played to both players. That is excellent, excellent, excellent play from both of them. And so I'm really glad we got to see that. Congratulations to NohatCoder on winning Game 1 of this 2021 TAC Open Tournament match against Abyss. Again, this is round 5. This is both of their final games of the tournament, determining who goes where in the standings. And this is not updated yet, of course, but NohatCoder just received 2 points for that win, which takes him to 31. Boom, 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 boom. Tied for third currently. And if he wins the next game as white, that would take him all the way up to 33 points. Granted, these two players both still have their 2 games to play, so that is... or no, sorry, this one doesn't, because that's who we're playing right now. This player still has 2 games to play, so that could change very drastically. But really, really well played. That was a fun game to watch. Excellent. And that is all for today. Thanks for watching. This match was split up into 2 videos because the games were so long, but they were some excellent tack that we got to see here. Be sure to check out the description below for all things tack, especially the tack Discord server, which is the community hub and where you can find all sorts of people to play with online, whether that be on playtak.com or through the Discord itself, playing asynchronously. Tons of other resources available for you right there in the Discord as well. Excellent place to go. Anyway, that is all for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.